By Dr. Jan. Dr. Jan Anderson has a doctorate in clinical psychology. She's been in practice since 2000, and she works with executives and professionals. And she joins me now. She is back on the show. Dr. Jan, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's talk about your relationship and your working relationship with business and professionals. When we talk about it's like the corporate world. What do they seek when they seek out Dr. Jan?
I come from a corporate background, so I'm a little bit different as a psychologist. So that population is generally comfortable with me. So when they seek me out, they're usually looking for my experience, not just my education and training, but my experience in being in the business world, being in the corporate world. So that's usually what draws them initially.
So working with executives and professionals, what kind of topics or what kind of things do you discuss?
I would say one of my specialties has become what I call relationship repair. People are looking for some way. There's a relationship, and I work with a broad range of relationships. It might be a work situation, a colleague or coworker, boss. But in some way a relationship has been damaged and it's in need of repair. And it's important to get it repaired because your career, your finances, certainly your personal happiness may depend on being able to do that. And it's not just the work situations, but all the ones you typically think of, relatives, in-laws, couples, but it's a broad range. So I just kind of put it under this umbrella of, it's really about, can I somehow press a reset button on a relationship and somehow repair it because it's important to me.
I think your background is interesting. Not only your education, not only your experience, but your personal background. And these all kind of blend together. Hopefully we'll be able to get into that. But I did notice that you're rather expensive. So yes. I'm just being honest here. So why would a corporate executive seek you out, a professional seek you out? For what reason?
I'd say there's two things, in addition to just my experience of being in the business world, but also privacy. People are really looking for privacy, and one of the ways I can provide that is I don't do insurance. I don't want any third party involved in the work we're doing, so that does mean I'm going to be more expensive. The other thing I do is I've set up my practice so there's privacy as far as you don't have to worry about running into somebody in a waiting room. You don't have to, I don't put a sign out. There is no sign. I don't have a waiting room. I don't book people back to back because I want to ensure that you don't run into anybody in encountering me. And that's important to people. So they seem to find that's worth it to them, to have that opportunity.
You mentioned your expertise is in relationship repair. I would imagine that a lot of these conversations get rather sensitive. So how do you get clients to open up? These are things that are hard to discuss. And
yeah, they're very touchy.
It is touchy. So what is your philosophy? What is your method, I guess I'm asking, Doc?
I'm basically honing in on the things that people are afraid to ask. They're afraid to say to the other person, the thing they most don't want to hear. Those are very touchy. So you have people sitting in a room that feel very exposed, and yet you're supposed to dare greatly somehow and talk about these things, but you're so sensitized it's like you don't have any skin. So what I evolved toward is, the way I put it simply is, I always have a plan, and I'm ready to throw the plan away. And what I mean by that, by plan, is in my world, pay attention to the research that's coming out, stay up on things, because there's a lot that we're learning about what works and doesn't work in relationships. There's a lot that's emerging culturally, our demographics, factor that in, pay attention to that, but also I had to learn how to rely on my own judgment too.
Here we go.
And that was scary at first.
I think we're talking now about the blend I wanted to hear about, because your education cannot be questioned, your experience cannot be questioned, but I think it's unique in that you're willing to adapt. Like you said, I have a plan, but be willing to throw that out. How did you come to that conclusion that, I've got to be willing to adapt and change and not be this is cookie cutter, one way, one size fits all?
Yeah, exactly. My light bulb moment came early on in my practice because nowadays my practice is about 50% men. But in the early days, it was almost all women, and they would usually come with some variation of this issue of I'm trying to form some kind of connection with my husband, and it's not working, we need help. He won't come to counseling. So what am I going to do? So what I'd been trained to do is to tell people, unless you both come together, your chances of divorce are increased. But my light bulb moment one day was, I'm going to work with anybody that shows up, because all these other issues that people are dealing with, they're not going to come to counseling with you either. Your in-laws aren't going to come with you to counseling. Your siblings aren't going to show up, or whoever else you're having issues with, they're not showing up. And I thought, maybe it's because I was raised the only girl with 3 brothers. But I could see this woman's dilemma. I've been there, I understand it, of wanting a connection with the man that's important to you. But on the other hand, I could think of, okay, here's this poor guy, his own wife can't get him to open up, so now we're going to put him in a room with 2 people, 2 women, and now he's going to open up? I don't think so. But we're going to have to improvise here and come up with something that's a little more practical. So I just started telling these people, I'll work with whoever shows up, because that's who's motivated. And who shows up and is motivated, they'll do their work. There's a better chance we'll get results, and I like to see results.
So if someone is prepared to repair themselves, to adapt, to listen, and to react, perhaps they can actually provide the counseling to the one who is not present, correct? Do you find that to be true as well?
Yes, that was another light bulb moment. It's like one day it just occurred to me, oh, this woman's she's doing her work. Her husband this is getting better. Somehow he's getting his counseling through her. And then I thought, oh my gosh, is that okay? And it's like, who cares?
As long as they receive it.
That's right. Everything's getting better. It's like, I don't care. It's like I said, whoever shows up, however you get the work done, that's what really counts.
LifeWise by Dr. J, and if you're listening now, perhaps you're an executive or a professional, you like the privacy aspect of it, you like the experience and the ability to adapt. That is Dr. Jan. So Dr. Jan, what is the first step? For those who may be watching, maybe they're listening, maybe they're looking on your Facebook page and studying you a little bit.
Yeah.
If they'd like to take the next step, what do they do?
A good way to check me out is my website, because I'm a columnist in a magazine called MD Update. And any articles that I write for that magazine gets published on my website as well. So it's a great way to check me out. Or if you're in the healthcare field and you're familiar with MD Update, I'm a featured columnist, so you can check out my column in that magazine.
I think you're unique. I think you're the cutting edge. I do. Because
I hope so.
I think the combination of your skill set and your understanding of people in general, and like you said, instead of pushing against those waves that keep coming in, it's like, how do I work? How do I adapt with them for the best result? That seems to be your philosophy.
Yeah, I get to be really creative, and I really like it.
All right. LifeWise by Dr. Jan. Once again, we encourage you to go to her website, Dr. Jan Anderson. She has a doctorate in clinical psychology. She's been practicing since 2000, and she combines that with a lot of good common sense and personal experience. Okay, coming up next, we're going to learn about bread pudding.